For most people, hanging by a thread is a metaphor. For a free solo climber, it's a daily reality. Without the thread, just a cliff, his wits, and a one-way ticket if he falls. You've got to admire the optimism here. Welcome to the edge of human endurance, where history's deadliest sports played with life and death. Enter ancient Rome's deadliest stage, the Gladiatorial Arena, where two warriors faced off with everything at stake. Here, each clash of steel wasn't just a fight. It was survival carved by the edge of a blade.
The gladiators were essentially disposable human beings. Criminals, prisoners of war, even condemned slaves. Their lives held little value beyond the bloody spectacle they provided.
They were the superstars of their era, until they weren't. One slip, one unlucky strike, and it was all over.
But warriors didn't just face each other. In this arena, men were often pitted against beasts, a terrifying spectacle where the odds were anything but even. Here, a single misstep meant being torn apart by claws and fangs. Today's gladiators have traded the Colosseum for the ocean, where nature calls the shots. Welcome to the world of big wave surfing, where giants of the sea become the ultimate test of mortal courage.
These waves can easily reach heights of 60, 70 feet or more. One false move, one momentary lapse in concentration, and you're being tossed around like a rag doll in a hurricane. It's a miracle anyone survives out there.
Indeed, the casualty rate for big wave surfing is alarmingly high. Broken bones, severe concussions, even drowning. These are the all too common fates that await those who dare to challenge the raw power of the ocean.
The best of the best make it look effortless, but they're constantly flirting with their own mortality. One miscalculation, and it's over. The sea shows no mercy to those who can't match its fury.
When these liquid giants come crashing down, they unleash the force of multiple freight trains. The human body, in comparison, might as well be made of paper.
People ask us why we do it. Why risk everything for a few seconds of glory? But when you're dropping down the face of a 60-foot wave, time stops. In that moment, you're more alive than most people will ever be in their entire lives, even if it kills you.
Yet despite the astronomical risks, or perhaps because of them, the allure of big wave surfing continues to draw new adherents. Imagine NASCAR, but with wooden wheels, 4 snorting horses, and absolutely no safety equipment. Welcome to Chariot Racing, the deadliest sport of the ancient world, where glory and gore went hand in hand.
The average life expectancy of a charioteer was remarkably short. These men wrapped the reins around their waists. When accidents happened, and they always happened, they'd be dragged behind panicked horses, their bodies literally torn to pieces on the track.
They say Roman engineers were brilliant architects. They proved it by designing the turns of the Circus Maximus to be just tight enough to guarantee spectacular crashes. 7 laps around the Circus Maximus, that's all it took to either become immortal or join the immortals. Imagine racing a motorcycle at 200 miles per hour down narrow country roads, past brick walls, lamp posts, and people's front gardens. Welcome to the Isle of Man Tourist Trophy, the deadliest race in modern motorsport.
Since 1907, 265 riders have lost their lives on this course. That's not counting practice sessions or the countless spectators. We're talking about a race where death isn't just possible, it's expected.
Most racetracks have safety barriers. The Isle of Man has stone walls, telegraph poles, and the occasional wandering sheep. Hit one of those at racing speed, and they'll be cleaning you up with a spatula.
What makes the TT unique is that it's essentially unchanged since 1907. Modern tracks sanitize danger. Here, danger is the whole point. One mistake, just 1 microsecond of lost concentration, and you're done.
The psychology is fascinating. These riders know the stats. They've lost friends here, yet they return year after year.
We've had bodies found in gardens, on rooftops, even in trees. One year, a rider hit a wall so hard his engine continued the race without him. Found it half a mile down the road, still running.
The locals have a saying, if you want to kill yourself, that's your business. Just don't make a mess on my doorstep. Dark humor for a darker sport. In the brutal age of steel and chivalry, the ultimate test of a knight's valor came not on the battlefield, but on the jousting field. Welcome to the deadly dance of medieval jousting, where honor and glory were won and lost with the splintering of a lance.
Jousting was the rock and roll of its day. It attracted the same kind of youthful, adrenaline-fueled daredevils that we see in extreme sports today. And just like modern thrill-seekers, they were all too aware that one wrong move meant certain death.
Indeed, the risks were catastrophic. Shattered spines, crushed rib cages, impalement on the knight's own lance. These were the gruesome fates that awaited the losers of the joust.
Trauma was the name of the game. Broken bones were practically a given. But the real killers were the internal injuries, ruptured organs, severed arteries. If the impact didn't kill you instantly, the blood loss and shock would finish the job soon after.
Yet beneath the spectacle, there was an undercurrent of ritual and purpose. Jousting was not just a sport. It was a proving ground, where knights demonstrated the martial skills that would one day be tested on the battlefield. From nobility hurling themselves at each other on horseback, we fast forward to the modern era, where apparently dropping from helicopters onto razor-sharp peaks seemed like the next logical step in humanity's endless quest to tempt fate. Adventurers are flown to remote peaks untouched by traditional ski infrastructure. Here, dangers lurk beneath the pristine powder, hidden crevasses, volatile weather, and the ever-present threat of avalanches. This sport gives new meaning to the phrase, going downhill fast. Unlike our jousting friends, at least there's no one actively trying to knock you off your ride. Except Mother Nature herself.
The fascinating thing about heli skiing is that we've basically taken all the deadly elements of high-altitude mountaineering and added a helicopter to the mix. Because why not? It's like looking at a lightning storm and thinking, you know what would make this better? A metal suit.
From charging steeds to charging rotors, the human appetite for danger hasn't diminished. We've just found more expensive ways to court it. From the soaring peaks of elite adventure sports, we descend, rather rapidly and ungracefully, to a hill in Gloucestershire, England, where every year hundreds of people gather to prove that you don't need expensive equipment or helicopters to risk your neck. Sometimes, all you need is a wheel of cheese and questionable judgment. Welcome to the Cooper's Hill Cheese Rolling, where participants hurl themselves down a 45-degree slope in pursuit of a rolling wheel of double Gloucester cheese, while heli skiers pay thousands for their brush with mortality. These athletes risk life and limb for a dairy product worth about 40 pounds sterling. Talk about a bargain.
From an academic perspective, it's fascinating. We've studied ancient civilizations that sacrificed humans to appease their gods. The cheese rollers? They sacrificed their dignity, bones, and occasionally consciousness to appease a dairy product. Evolution is a curious thing.
People ask me why I do it. Heli skiers have their adrenaline rush, knights had their honor. We have our cheese. Do you know how expensive Double Gloucester is these days? It's practically an investment strategy.
While heli skiers require extensive training and equipment, cheese rolling's only prerequisite is an impressive lack of self-preservation instinct. The technique, as described by veterans, is simple. Start running, accept your inevitable fall, and try to remain conscious until you reach the bottom. What is it about danger that calls us in? Is it the thrill, the adrenaline, or something else that pushes us to stand on the edge, face it, and sometimes walk away? From the sands of Rome to cliffs, oceans, and ice, adrenaline is timeless. The thrill, the stakes. These are what keep us coming back, pushing us to the brink.